two people work the same shift at the same hospital in Columbus, Ohio. Same job title, same $68,000 salary, same payday. Every other Friday at exactly 6 a.m., the same direct deposit lands in both of their bank accounts. One of them is broke by the following Thursday, not, I should probably slow down on spending. I am talking about checking the account balance before filling up the gas tank, turning down dinner invitations, counting the days until payday. The other person just got back from a trip to Portugal, has nearly $20,000 sitting in an account most people have never heard of, and hasn't worried about a bill in years, same income, same city, similar rent. And no, he doesn't have a secret side hustle. No inheritance, no lucky crypto story. The difference between these two people comes down to roughly 11 minutes every other Friday. That's it. Hi, I'm Alex, a financial educator, and on this channel we break down money, investing, and wealth building into simple steps anyone can follow. If you're serious about improving your finances, make sure to subscribe and hit the like button. It helps the channel and lets me know you want more practical financial content like this. If you've ever reached the end of a pay cycle wondering where your money disappeared to, hit the subscribe button and give this video a like, because today I'm going to show you the exact payday routine that quietly separates people who constantly feel behind from people who steadily build wealth even when they're earning the same paycheck. And we're going to use the actual June 2026 numbers, not outdated advice, not generic budgeting cliches, real numbers that reflect the world you're living in right now. And the reason the June 2026 update actually matters is because a surprising amount of financial advice from just a year or two ago is already outdated. Retirement contribution limits changed, tax brackets changed, health savings account limits changed, student loan programs changed, savings rates changed. Even the rules around deductions and retirement planning have been rewritten. Meanwhile, credit card interest rates have climbed higher, inflation has proven far more stubborn than many experts predicted, and millions of Americans are still operating with financial strategies built for an economy that no longer exists. The game changed. Most people just never got the update. That's what this video is for. Now, before we begin, a quick disclaimer. I'm not a financial advisor, and this isn't personal financial advice. Think of this as a framework, a repeatable system. The same kind of system used by ordinary people who quietly become financially secure without ever becoming internet-famous entrepreneurs. I'm simply going to show you the order of operations, the sequence, because when it comes to money, the order often matters more than the amount. And math has a funny way of ignoring our opinions. Before we jump into step one, let's look at the reality most people are dealing with in June 2026, because the numbers paint a picture that's difficult to ignore. According to multiple recent surveys, roughly 2/3 of American adults now describe themselves as living paycheck to paycheck, not just low-income households, not just young workers, everyone. The Federal Reserve recently reported that more than 1/3 of adults would struggle to cover a $400 emergency using cash. Think about that. One unexpected repair, one emergency vet visit, one medical bill. And millions of people immediately find themselves turning to debt. Bankrate's latest data shows that less than half of Americans have even 3 months of expenses saved, and nearly 1/4 have no emergency savings at all, zero. Nothing standing between them and financial disaster, but perhaps the most surprising statistic comes from high-income earners. A recent survey found that even among people making more than $300,000 per year, roughly 40% still reported living paycheck to paycheck, which tells us something important. This isn't simply an income problem, because if earning more automatically solved financial stress, it would have disappeared long before someone reached $300,000 a year. Clearly it didn't. The real issue is what happens after the money arrives, and that's where today's system comes in. Now let's get into the first real step. And before you roll your eyes because you've heard this advice 100 times, hear me out. I'm not going to tell you to make a budget. I'm going to ask you to find one number, just one. Because almost every financial decision you'll ever make depends on knowing this number. It's your true monthly cost of living, not what you think you spend, not what your banking app estimates, the actual cost of keeping your life running. That includes your rent or mortgage, utilities, insurance, minimum debt payments, groceries, transportation, your phone bill, streaming subscriptions you actually use. And yes, even the ones you've been meaning to cancel for the past 6 months. Add everything together, for many single adults, That number falls somewhere between $2,500 and $4,500 each month. Families are usually higher. Why does this matter so much? Because every financial goal you build from this point forward depends on it. Your emergency fund, your retirement targets, your savings goals. Even figuring out how much of every paycheck you can safely spend. Without this number, you're basically navigating your finances using guesswork, and guesswork is expensive. While you're looking through your bills, spend another 5 minutes doing something that can eliminate an incredible amount of financial stress. Look at your bill due dates, then compare them to your payday schedule. A surprising number of overdraft fees don't happen because people lack money. They happen because the timing is terrible. Maybe your paycheck arrives on the 15th, your rent is due on the 1st, your credit card autopay comes out on the 27th, your insurance drafts on the 22nd. Suddenly you're moving money around just to keep everything afloat. Here's something many people don't realize. Most lenders, utility companies, internet providers, and even credit card companies will happily move your payment date if you ask. One quick phone call can completely reorganize your cash flow. Instead of constantly racing your bills, you can line everything up a few days after payday. That tiny change removes an enormous amount of financial anxiety. Once you've done that, it's time for the habit that quietly separates people who always have money from people who always wonder where it went. Pay yourself first. This sounds almost too simple, but it works because it removes one thing that humans are terrible at: decision-making. Here's the reality. The moment money lands inside your checking account, your brain already starts assigning jobs to it: rent, groceries, Amazon, coffee, subscriptions, dinner with friends. Checking accounts exist for one purpose: to spend money. They're not designed to build wealth, they're designed to move money. In fact, most checking accounts still pay almost no interest at all. Your bank happily holds your money while earning far more from lending it to someone else. So instead of letting every dollar sit there waiting to disappear, move part of your paycheck somewhere else before you ever see it. Almost every payroll provider today allows direct deposit splitting. Instead of sending 100% of your paycheck into checking, you can send a percentage directly into savings, another percentage into investments, maybe another into a separate account for future goals. The key is that the money never touches your spending account first. You never have the chance to accidentally spend it. This might sound like basic advice. You've probably heard people say, just automate your savings. But here's why it actually works. Researchers have studied retirement plans involving millions of workers. When employees have to manually enroll themselves, participation rates are dramatically lower. But when companies automatically enroll workers unless they opt out, participation jumps to well over 90%. Same people, same salaries, same financial struggles. The only difference is that one group had the decision removed. Behavioral economists have spent decades proving something most of us already know about ourselves. Willpower isn't reliable. Some days you're motivated, some days you're tired. Some days you had a stressful week and buying something feels like therapy. Automation never has bad days. Automation never impulse buys. Automation doesn't care that it's Black Friday. It quietly keeps building wealth while you're busy living your life. Now the classic advice says to automatically save 20% of your income. That's based on the well-known 50-30-20 rule: 50% for needs, 30% for wants, 20% for savings. The problem is that many people simply can't do that anymore. Housing costs have exploded, groceries are more expensive, insurance keeps climbing. For millions of households, necessities already consume well over half their income. If saving 20% isn't realistic, don't let that stop you. Start with 5%, start with 2%, start with 1%. Because the amount isn't the most important part, the system is. Once the pipeline exists, increasing it later takes seconds. Building the habit is infinitely more valuable than waiting until someday when saving feels easier, because for most people that someday never arrives. Now, before we decide where all those automatic savings should actually go, we need to talk about something that's quietly draining billions of dollars from paychecks every single year. It's what I call the payday trap. And chances are you've already been offered one of these products without even realizing what it really costs. Now let's talk about the financial traps waiting for your paycheck the moment it arrives. Because before your money has a chance to build your future, an entire industry is trying to claim it first. And in 2026, that industry has become incredibly sophisticated. It doesn't look like predatory lenders anymore. It looks like clean mobile apps, friendly notifications, bright colors, convenient payment options. Everything is designed to feel helpful. Let's start with paycheck advance apps. You've probably seen them. They promise early access to money you've already earned. The pitch sounds completely reasonable. You worked the hours. So why wait until payday? Need $100 today? Tap a button. Need $200? No problem. Most of them even advertise that there's no interest, just a small instant transfer fee. Maybe an optional tip. Think about that for a second. We've somehow created financial products where people are encouraged to tip an app for giving them access to their own paycheck. It sounds harmless until you look at the math. Consumer regulators have analyzed millions of these transactions, and when the fees and tips are converted into annual percentage rates, many of these paycheck advance products effectively charge well over 300% APR. That's more expensive than many payday loans. The branding changed, the economics didn't. Even more concerning is what usually happens next. Most people don't use these apps once, they use them repeatedly. One advance reduces the size of the next paycheck, which creates another shortfall, which leads to another advance. And before long, every payday starts with less money than the last one. It's not a bridge anymore, it's a cycle. Another trap that's exploded over the last few years is buy now, pay later. At first glance, it seems harmless. Instead of paying $240 today, you pay 4 installments of $60. No interest, no problem. Except that's rarely how people use it. The average user isn't financing one purchase. They're financing 5 or 8 or 12 across multiple apps. Now every payday has a collection of small payments quietly waiting to be deducted. Each one feels insignificant. But together, they slowly consume the paycheck before you've even looked at your account. That's the psychological trick. People don't react emotionally to 4 payments of $60. They react to one payment of $240. Breaking purchases into smaller pieces makes spending feel painless. The cost doesn't change, only your perception does. Then there's overdraft fees, one of the oldest and most profitable financial products ever created. You accidentally spend a few dollars more than what's available in your account. The bank approves the transaction anyway, then charges you $35 for covering a shortage that might have been only $4 or $5. That's an astonishingly expensive loan. And millions of people pay these fees every year simply because their bills and paychecks arrive in the wrong order. Here's why I'm spending so much time talking about these products. Because every dollar lost to fees, late charges, interest, or unnecessary borrowing is a dollar that never gets the chance to work for you. Before your investments earn a single penny, before your savings account grows, before compound interest even begins, your future has already taken a hit. That's exactly why the payday routine starts by paying yourself first. You're simply moving yourself to the front of the line. Instead of everyone else collecting from your paycheck first, your future gets paid first. And the first destination for those automatic transfers is incredibly simple. An emergency fund. Not 6 months of expenses immediately. Not some giant savings account that takes years to build. Just a starter fund, something between $1,000 and $2,500. Enough to stop ordinary life from becoming expensive debt because emergencies aren't rare. Cars break down, phones stop working, kids get sick, pets need surgery. Air conditioners choose the hottest week of the year to quit. Life isn't trying to punish you. Life is simply unpredictable. Without emergency savings, every surprise immediately becomes borrowed money, and borrowed money has become incredibly expensive. With a starter emergency fund, those same surprises become temporary inconveniences instead of financial disasters. You pay the expense, then slowly refill the savings over the next few paychecks. No credit cards, no paycheck advances, no overdraft fees. Your emergency fund isn't there to earn huge investment returns. It's there to prevent catastrophically expensive mistakes. Now, where should that money live? Definitely not inside a traditional checking account, and probably not inside a basic savings account at a large national bank either. Many of those accounts still pay almost nothing in interest. Meanwhile, high-yield savings accounts continue offering returns that are dramatically higher while keeping your money easily accessible and federally insured. It's one of the easiest financial upgrades almost anyone can make. The money stays liquid, it stays safe, but it actually earns something while waiting for the next unexpected expense. Once that starter emergency fund reaches its target, something interesting happens. You've built your first financial safety net. Unexpected expenses stop controlling your life. And now, for the first time, every future paycheck can begin building wealth instead of constantly repairing damage. That's when we arrive at what may be the single greatest guaranteed return available to ordinary workers, your employer's retirement match. And if you're not taking full advantage of it, you could be walking away from thousands of dollars every single year. If you found value in this video, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss future videos on personal finance, wealth building, and financial freedom. And if this message resonated with you, share it with someone who might need to hear it. Thank you for watching. See you on the next video.